All right, guys. So the current state of the Republican Party and the GOP kind of goes something like this, right? There's a certain segment of the GOP that just wants to move on from Trump. They want to cut him off permanently and be done with it, right? Go back to business as usual. The George Bush days, the Dick Cheney days, those days are what they kind of want to go back to, okay? And that's probably what Mitch McConnell, Mitt Romney, Murkowski, Liz Cheney, those people, right, in the GOP that want to do that, okay? Because that's business as usual, right? They want people to stop paying attention to politics. That's why they don't care about censorship, right? If anything, big tech censorship works in their favor because that means that you are no longer paying attention to what's going on and that views that conflict with the establishment narrative are now being blocked out, right? So if you ever wonder why McConnell and all these other Republicans aren't really fighting censorship or they're not really saying anything about it, it's because quite honestly, it works in their favor, okay? Because people supporting alternative narratives within the Republican Party is not good for cohesion, right? And moving forward without Trump, which is what they want to do, okay? So I wouldn't be surprised if behind the scenes, they're actually supporting a lot of this censorship coming from big tech and social media. Now, the other side of that coin are those who are more in the populist movement, right? Those like, Matt Gaetz, right? Those like MTG, Lauren Boebert, Madison Cawthorn, more newer Republican congressmen and women who are, more aligned with President Trump when it comes to at least the whole America First philosophy, okay? And then you have some that are in the middle, that are trying to play both sides of the game, namely Lindsey Graham and House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy. They're trying to keep the ship together, okay? They're trying to, appeal to Trump supporters, and they're also trying to appeal to the establishment. They're trying to keep both together because they understand that if both sides distinctly break off from each other and there's no cohesion like there historically is in the Republican Party, then we are doomed to have Democrats running the country at least for the next maybe 2 to 3 election cycles. Who knows? Okay, so this is the ongoing tug of war that's currently happening in the Republican Party. Now, we're going to go over some statements that Lindsey Graham and Mitch McConnell has made, and then we're going to go over some stuff that Matt Gaetz is talking about that I think really hits home in terms of what the real issue in the Republican Party is that actually needs to be addressed. So I have this article here in which we're going to detail what actually is being said right now from some leaders in the Republican Party regarding the Liz Cheney situation, because she had come out and voted to impeach President Trump in the House, and that pissed off a lot of people. So let's read the news here. Senator Lindsey Graham on Tuesday defended Representative Liz Cheney, the third-ranking Republican in the House, who has come under fire for her vote to impeach former President Trump. Graham called Cheney a valuable asset to the Republican Party, as many GOP members of Congress have targeted the Congresswoman over her impeachment vote. I believe Cheney is one of the strongest and most reliable conservative voices in the Republican Party, Graham said in a tweet. She is a fiscal and social conservative, and no one works harder to ensure that our military is well prepared. Graham added, in the eyes of many, Liz Cheney's experience, leadership, and strength are invaluable to the Republican Party. As you can see here, here's his tweets. The senator's statement comes just hours after Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell issued a similar defense of Cheney while blasting Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, a staunch defender of Trump who has faced fierce criticism for promoting a number of conspiracy theories. Quote, Liz Cheney is a leader with deep convictions and the courage to act on them, McConnell said to CNN of the Wyoming lawmaker. On Wednesday, House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy plans to hold a meeting of rank-and-file Republicans as some members are looking to oust Cheney from her leadership position over her impeachment vote. House Freedom Caucus Chairman Andy Briggs of Arizona and Representative Matt Rosendale are circulating a petition to demand Cheney resign from her post as chairwoman of the House GOP conference, The Hill reported. Representative Matt Gaetz has spent time in Wyoming in recent days railing against Cheney during small gatherings of Trump supporters. Now, before we get into Matt Gaetz, who is going to drive home a very, very, very important point about establishment, Republicans and politicians in general, really, I just want to make it clear that, Mitch McConnell has come after, Marjorie Taylor Greene, just like the left has, and basically has called her loony lies a cancer on the GOP. Now, I just want to make it very clear. I'm not endorsing any of the things that Miss Greene allegedly said. I'm not endorsing it. All I'm doing is I'm just reporting what's being said. Okay? That's it. So, Mitch McConnell, in my opinion, going after her, I think is really just falling into the left's trap of having the GOP continue to be concerned about things that they should not be concerned about. Okay? The GOP needs to be concerned about the people. They need to be concerned about those who they represent. Okay? Not just one congressman, man or woman who they don't like, because that just falls into the Democrats' trap. Okay? They need to actually be concerned about, the people that have elected them to do a job in Washington. Okay? And that, to me, is why I'm so happy to see Matt Gaetz doing what he's doing in Wyoming, addressing the core issue of the Republican Party right now. Okay? And we're going to talk more about Matt Gaetz as I'm going to play some videos of some things he's saying that I think are very important. But guys, as you can see, there is a large divide, right, in the Republican Party over what to do moving forward. Okay? And there's a lot of Republicans who do truly believe that, you cannot distance the former president from the party, that he has to stay a part of the party, for whatever reason, whether or not they actually allow his ideology, whether or not they just want to keep the party together. I think, again, for whatever reason, there are a large amount of people that do staunchly believe that anybody who comes against the former president should be punished. Even somebody like Liz Cheney, who is establishment of the establishment. Okay? Now, I tend to believe that those like Lindsey Graham and Kevin McCarthy, I don't think they necessarily really align with Trump per se ideologically as much, but they're more like, I would rather keep the party together. I think that they probably believe that the Republican Party can have both, right, and continue to move forward. And obviously there's guys like McConnell, Mitt Romney, Liz Cheney's of the world that believe that it's just not compatible. They don't even care at this point. They just want to move on from Trump and just be done with it, right? Back to business as usual. Now, back to Matt Gaetz. Matt Gaetz, who has some cojones, some major cojones. This man basically went and started trying to primary Liz Cheney 2 years ahead of time in Wyoming, right? In Wyoming, her own state, this man is out here trying to primary her. Let's take a look at what he's saying.
Liz Cheney taunts me for wearing makeup in my television appearances. Now, makeup only hides the slightest imperfections of the skin. It does very little to conceal the soulless corruption of Washington, D.C. It's pretty easy for me to get a little makeup off my shirt. Far more difficult for Liz Cheney to get the blood off her hands after sending America's best to foreign lands to die for a knowable gain and personal profit.
Now, I'm going to tell you, he hit Liz Cheney on something that I think that I love about this new Republican movement here, right? Now, I don't love all aspects of it, but this is one part I really do love is that, these guys are calling out the BS when it comes to the wars, right? When it comes to sending our soldiers overseas to fight in wars that, don't really benefit the average person in America, that are over things that, again, don't benefit us. Calling out the neocons, I think that's a very, very good ideological aspect that has come out of this new movement. Okay. And again, Matt Gaetz is really honing in on this stuff, man. And he's becoming a pretty popular guy. Now, when I did my video about the presidential chances, I still think he's too young. I think he still needs to, get his feet wet a little bit. But I think in the future, man, maybe the next, 10 or 15 years, I think the sky's the limit, especially with this type of rhetoric in which, he's railing against the wars. And also, Matt Gaetz is coming after the lobbyists funding and the money in politics that has plagued the Republican Party, both sides, really, the Democrats and the Republicans for years. I absolutely love this segment because it gets at the heart of the issue in politics that we have right now.
I want to congratulate you for doing what you're doing, going out, talking with the folks who ostensibly put Liz Cheney in that congressional seat. We know that she raised more money from PACs than she did from Wyoming donors. So it's pretty clear she effectively was put in that seat despite the people of Wyoming and because of her allegiance to Wall Street, corporate America, and what are now her puppet masters in the establishment. But she's not alone. Kevin McCarthy, the leader of your party in the House conference, the minority leader, down talking to the former president, Donald Trump, America first, make America great, the man who represented working men and women and their families. And it's a very lonely place right now for those like, say, Congressman Matt Gaetz, who support the same values, the same ideals as did the former president. Your thoughts as you contend with a leadership that is fractured and frankly, absolutely betraying the ideals of the Trump administration and Donald Trump, the former president.
Well, the current leadership of the Republican Party is not worth the people of the Republican Party who've done so much to make America great. And while I may be lonely frequently in Washington, D.C., I sure wasn't lonely today in Cheyenne, Wyoming, because the people of America, they understand that the policies of President Trump made their lives better. Now, Liz Cheney didn't just raise more money from PACs than from people in Wyoming. She raised more money from PACs than people anywhere. Literally, Lou, more money from PACs than from human beings. Now, I'm the only Republican in Congress that doesn't take any PAC money from any Washington PACs because I think the American people should be our one and only special interest. So I plan to travel the country to ignite our movement to get out of Washington, D.C., and to ensure that we get back to the winning ways of President Trump. The establishment think we got to go back to the days of Romney and the Bushes and the Cheneys. I think we're past that, and we're so much better for it. And it starts right here in Wyoming by the great folks here replacing Liz Cheney. I saw a poll yesterday, Lou. Liz Cheney is less popular with Republicans in Wyoming than Muammar Gaddafi was with Libyans at the time of his removal. Now, obviously, we don't wish the same fate for Liz Cheney. We just hope that she's defeated in the upcoming election.
Wow. That was great from Matt Gaetz because he made an excellent point. He's like, bruh, I'm the only person that's not taking corporate PAC money. Okay? She has taken more money from corporations and PACs than the people that she's actually there to represent. It is obvious that it wasn't the people that put her in that position. It was corporations. So who do you think that she's going to go and fight for in Washington? It's going to be corporations. And this, in my opinion, is the heart of the issue with the Republican Party. And this is why they want so hard to try to get rid of Trump, because they don't want to have to rely on raising money from me and you. They don't want to rely on that. And they understand that, if they cut Trump off, that they may be able to regain the good graces of corporate America. But if they keep Trump a part of the party, then what happens is that, they might not necessarily be able to raise as much corporate interest. Then they'll have to actually start to be like Matt Gaetz and actually start to have more grassroots support from the people. Right? So I really love this from Matt Gaetz because he brings up a very good point and hits at the heart of what's wrong in our politics. And this is not just a Republican thing. This is a Democrat and Republican thing. Money in politics corrupts these people. Right? If you wonder why they do what they do, why they pass the policies that they pass, why they fight for what they fight for, why the establishment seems to always be together on certain issues, it's because of money. Money runs politics. Okay? These politicians can be bought and sold just like stocks on the exchange. You know what I'm saying? So, at the end of the day, I love this from Matt Gaetz. I think that he hits home very well. I think that the Republican Party is bonding to the Democrat, show, trying to go after MTG for a bunch of stuff that she said. Again, I don't endorse anything that she said at all. I don't have an opinion on it. Only thing I'm saying is that they're worried more about that than they are worried about the fact that the whole party has been bought and sold, right, by corporations, and that there needs to be a realignment with the people, right, with the people that elected these people. You need to worry more about that. You need to worry more about getting these neocons and the old guard out. But obviously, they don't want to get themselves out, obviously. But I'm just saying, that's where the Republican Party needs to go. The Republican Party needs to shift itself to a party that's more geared towards the will of the people rather than the will of corporations. Again, same problem on the Democrat side. They have the exact same problem. But anyways, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.